An October afternoon chill swept through Central Park, New York, where the maple trees blazed in vibrant reds and golds. But in Sarah's eyes, a graceful middle-aged woman with silver-streaked hair and a tired gaze, those colors seemed muted. She recalled a mix of sad and joyful memories, envisioning the future years for herself and her children. She sat quietly on a familiar park bench, clutching a cold coffee cup. After a bitterly broken marriage and years of struggling with the burden of making ends meet, Sarah had told herself that love was a luxury, a dream meant only for the young. Her heart, seemingly turned to stone, beat only to the monotonous rhythm of a diligent office worker and a responsible single mother. Not far off, Tony, a talented architect with a forehead deeply etched with lines of worry, leaned against an old tree trunk. He'd helped build towering skyscrapers and grand structures, but he couldn't design a home of his own. The painful divorce had left an unexplainable void within him, an invisible fear of commitment. He believed that at 50, his heart was too hardened, and finding true love was a fantasy, even laughable. Fate, however, had other plans. One rainy day, Sarah and Tony reconnected at a contemporary art exhibition, a place where both found rare solace. They had been old colleagues, not having seen each other for quite some time, and their previous interactions were merely polite nods. Now, standing before an unsettling abstract painting, they began to converse. From politely queries, their conversation gradually delved into deeper feelings. Sarah spoke of sleepless nights worrying about her children and the crushing weight of financial burdens. Tony confided that ever since his ex-wife left him for another man when he was just starting his career, he had been heartbroken and distraught. He'd buried himself in work, trying to forget that deep first love. Now, having achieved professional success, built his empire, and acquired a spacious apartment, he looked back at himself at 50. He felt a pang of sadness and loneliness, despite always projecting an image of strength to the world. They realized that beneath their calm exteriors, both carried deep scars. They empathized with each other with an understanding only those who had truly lived could comprehend. Their subsequent dates weren't romantic candlelit dinners, but long walks in sun and rain, evenings spent reading together at the public library, or simply sitting quietly beside each other, listening to jazz drift through a small bar in Greenwich Village. Love came to them not as a storm, but as a gentle stream, winding through parched rocks, slowly softening and nurturing their hearts. But happiness wasn't easily won. Sarah's children, accustomed to a life with just their mother, were initially reluctant to accept Tony's presence. Whispers from colleagues and scrutinizing glances from friends about an old love affair made Sarah waver. As for Tony, he faced the fear of being hurt again. He wondered if he had enough strength to love and protect a woman who had endured so much hardship like Sarah. Could he truly overcome the ghost of his past to build a new future? The dramatic climax came when Sarah's eldest daughter, during an argument, lashed out. "Do you really think love at this age can bring happiness, Mom? You're just deluding yourself." The words pierced Sarah's heart like a knife, crushing her spirit. Tony, witnessing the scene, felt helpless too. He questioned if their love was truly a burden to those around them. In the quiet of the night, Sarah and Tony had an honest conversation. They didn't shy away from their fears or their wounds. Sarah choked back tears. "I'm so scared, Tony. Scared to fail again, scared to hurt the people I love." Tony held her hand tightly, his gaze resolute. "I'm scared too, Sarah, but I'm more afraid of living the rest of my life without you." We've stumbled before, but that doesn't mean we don't deserve happiness. Love isn't a race, it's not a competition. It's a journey, and we'll walk it together, no matter how many thorns there are. Tony's words were a beacon of light dispelling the darkness in Sarah's heart. She realized that love isn't about perfection, but about accepting each other's flaws and overcoming difficulties together. Tony also understood that true love isn't the absence of fear, but the courage to face that fear. They decided to fight for their love. Sarah patiently explained to her children, proving through her actions that Tony was a good man, someone who could bring her happiness. Tony also proactively sought to mend ties with Sarah's family, demonstrating his sincerity and responsibility. Together, they faced prejudices and gossip with calm resolve and intense love. Slowly, the barriers crumbled. Sarah's children began to recognize the genuine love Tony had for their mother. Friends and colleagues gradually changed their perceptions. They realized that love transcends age, status, or past. It only requires two hearts brave enough to open, to love, and to fight for it. One spring morning, as the cherry blossoms began to unfurl, Sarah and Tony stood beneath the ancient tree in Central Park, where they had once sat quietly alone. Now, they held hands tightly, their eyes filled with happiness and peace. They were no longer solitary figures burdened by past wounds. They had found each other, discovering a love that arrived late but was more complete than ever. The story of Sarah and Tony is a profound reminder that love has no age, no expiration date, and it's never too late for the heart to revive. No matter how many storms you've weathered, no matter how much despair you felt, always hold on to a glimmer of hope. Because happiness can arrive at any moment, as long as you dare to open your heart, dare to believe, and dare to fight for your true love. Each of us can see ourselves reflected in this story. Perhaps in the fear of starting anew, in societal prejudices, or simply in self-doubt. But the most important message Sarah and Tony conveyed is be resilient, love deeply, and believe that even if love comes late, it can still be the most beautiful love, healing all wounds and bringing a complete, meaningful life. A deeply ingrained saying about life is, the last love is the best love. Thank you for serendipitously encountering and listening to this meaningful story. If you're feeling generous, please consider giving the One More Love channel a subscribe, a like, and a share. This will help One More Love continue to collect genuine and meaningful love stories from everyday life. May your beautiful love grow ever stronger.